Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Healthy Aging Network. Today, we're going to be talking with Lorrissa Dunfee about arthritis, so please stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back. I'm Kathy Tutt, and I'm the Family Consumer Sciences Educator for Ohio State University Extension in Clark County. Today, I'm going to be talking with Lorrissa Dunfee, who is in Family Consumer Sciences Educator in Belmont County, and she's going to be sharing with us about arthritis. So to start out, Lorrissa, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So I am in Belmont County, and so that's the southeastern part of the state. I've been an educator here for about 6 years now, and my specializations are in healthy aging as well as mental health and wellness. So this topic, the arthritis topic, is something that is very prevalent, and I'm excited to share some information about it with you all.
So that is wonderful. So Lorrissa, tell us a little bit more about what you're going to share with us today.
I want to share about the National Arthritis Awareness Month is actually in May. So I thought this would definitely be something that was timely. And the information I'll be sharing is about this debilitating disease.
So can you tell me, just to start out, so what is arthritis? And are there symptoms that people can watch for if they think they may have it?
Sure. Well, the word arthritis means inflammation of the joints. So the joint, of course, is where the two bones connect. So it might be your elbow or your knee, your ankle. And then symptoms can vary depending on the type of arthritis that you have. The most common warning signs or symptoms include pain, redness, heat, swelling in the joints, stiffness, difficulty moving a joint, maybe even a fever, some weight loss, breathing problems, and then a rash or an itch. And these symptoms can develop suddenly or even gradually over time. And some of them may come and go, and then some of the symptoms may persist and last longer periods of time.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So I do have a question. How common is arthritis? And does it just affect adults?
That's a great question. It is surprising to some people, but arthritis can actually affect individuals of all ages. And it's one of the most widespread health conditions in the United States. It is most common among the older adults ages 65 and older, of course, with approximately 50% of our older adults reporting being diagnosed with arthritis. And then 31% of those 45 to 65-year-old have experienced arthritis, and then another 7% of those 18 to 45-year-olds. And according to the CDC, more than 58 million, so that's 1 in 4 adults, have been doctor diagnosed with arthritis. So in terms of numbers, however, most U.S. adults with arthritis are between those working ages of 18 to 64 and may experience activity limitations that affect their ability to work. The Arthritis Foundation predicts the number of older adults affected by arthritis to grow to 67 million by the year 2030. So arthritis doesn't just affect the older adults, though. There is juvenile and child arthritis that affects about 300,000 children in the United States alone. And the most common type is juvenile idiopathic arthritis, or JIA. And it's also known as juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. It's actually the nation's #1 cause of disability.
So those are some pretty large numbers, and thank you for sharing that information with us. Mm-hmm. It's something that is more common than what people think, I believe.
Right.
Yeah. So can you tell me what what causes arthritis? I mean, how do people get it? Where does it come from?
Sure. Our experts don't actually know the cause of many of the different forms of arthritis, but certain risk factors make it more likely for someone to develop it. Scientists continue to study, of course, the role of the factors such as genetics, a person's lifestyle, the environment in which they live. Those things all can, affect arthritis. And also, there's one research study found that more adults in rural areas are affected by arthritis, with nearly 1 in 3 people affected than in urban areas. So adults living in the most rural areas were more limited by their arthritis as well. And so when we think about farmers in particular in rural areas, they're up and down a lot, bending at their knees. And so that's where that comes into play as far as it affecting more people in the rural communities.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So do certain factors make it more likely for people to develop arthritis?
Yes, and certain behaviors and characteristics can't be controlled, we know, but some can. Modifiable risk factors such as a person's weight, making sure that they're maintaining a healthy weight, making an appointment with their physician if they start to notice any of the symptoms that I mentioned earlier. Of course, protecting your joints from injuries by doing special exercises. And then if you smoke, quitting smoking can all be controlled by our lifestyle management. And then for people who have occupations that involve that repetitive knee bending and squatting, it's important for them to make sure their work site is free of fall hazards and has the space, the equipment, the tools that fit their physical ability and limitations. Obviously, we can't control all risk factors, but those are some things that are within our control. And then, of course, age, gender, genetics, and inherited traits we can't control.
I mean, you hear the term arthritis, but are there different types of arthritis, or is there just one overreaching arthritis?
Another great question. There are actually more than 110 types of arthritis, and specific symptoms vary depending on what type someone is experiencing. But they all essentially include that joint pain and stiffness. So I wanted to just mention the 4 most common types of arthritis that affect people in the United States. The first one being that osteoarthritis. It affects over 30 million US adults. And it's sometimes referred to as the degenerative joint disease or the wear and tear arthritis. And symptoms of osteoarthritis include pain or aching, stiffness, decreased range of motion or flexibility, and swelling. And it can affect a single joint and most often occurs in the hands, someone's hips, and also the knees. And then we have rheumatoid arthritis. That's actually one of the more disabling types of arthritis. And it is most common type of an autoimmune arthritis. It shares many similarities with the osteoarthritis, but can actually occur at any age. And this disease is 2 to 3 times more common in women than men, which may be related to hormonal factors. It actually affects people's wrists, elbows, shoulders, ankles, knees, toes. And rheumatoid arthritis causes the joints to become inflamed, stiff, and even painful to move. If it's not treated, joints can become deformed and lose their range of motion. And then gout arthritis is a common form of inflammatory arthritis that's very painful. And women experience rheumatoid arthritis more, but men tend to experience gout arthritis more. And it's caused by the buildup of uric acid crystals within the joint and causes that intense pain, swelling, warmth, and redness. And it usually occurs in one joint at a time and is, interestingly, most commonly found in the big toe. And gout flares start suddenly and can last days or even weeks on end. It can be treated with medication and diet. And then a newer type of arthritis is fibromyalgia, and it affects about 4 million US adults. In addition to causing all over body pain, it creates sleep problems, fatigue, and emotional and mental distress. So people with fibromyalgia are more sensitive to pain, and women are twice as likely to have fibromyalgia.
So Lorrissa, if I've noticed some joint pain or redness in my joints or even like limited mobility, what should I do if I think I have arthritis?
Well, first of all, I would suggest making an appointment with your doctor as soon as you notice any signs or symptoms that we've discussed, because that early intervention is key. After a diagnosis, a patient may want to schedule an appointment with a physician who specializes in arthritis. Just as if your family doctor gave you the diagnosis of cancer, you would want to seek immediate treatment to increase your likelihood of a better outcome. And that's the same with, arthritis. And then you would probably go to an oncologist for further treatment. And if you have arthritis, I would suggest going from your family doctor to a rheumatologist, because they specialize in arthritis and other diseases of the bones and joints and muscles.
So how is arthritis diagnosed? So you said if you're diagnosed with it, so how do they actually go through that process of diagnosing someone?
Sure. The diagnosis is made by the physician, of course, and they use the patient's medical history, a physical examination, x-rays, and then blood test. And again, the earlier, the better, because you can, start to manage the disease, hopefully reduce the pain, and then start to make healthy lifestyle changes as well to help with the symptoms that they're experiencing.
If I go to the doctor and I've been diagnosed with it now, and I actually go see a rheumatologist, will I be able to get rid of it then once they start the treatment, or what is the treatment, or how do you get rid of it?
Well, unfortunately, there isn't a cure for arthritis at this point, but it can definitely be treated and managing. And managing the symptoms are important because this disease can not only affect a person's physical health, but it can also affect their mental health as well. If anyone's ever been in severe pain, that can take a toll on your ability to sleep, your ability to get comfortable. And then if you're not sleeping, then you might be short-tempered, those kinds of things. And so that's where that mental part comes in. So really that intervention helps, and you might start on treatments such as medication, maybe even non-drug therapies such as physical therapy, some patient education, and then sometimes surgery might be involved. But managing arthritis symptoms is important, and it's a big key part in reducing pain, preventing or delaying any disabilities, and improving someone's overall quality of life. And fortunately, current treatments allow most people with arthritis to go ahead and live productive lives.
So it sounds like it could be pretty frustrating to have arthritis when you're losing some mobility or you're in pain. And if there's times that maybe medication can't manage it. So are there any tips that you can share that could help people cope with that?
Sure. Some of the things we've talked about a bit already, but we can go ahead and review them. It's important to strengthen and align your arthritic joints with braces or orthotics of some kind. If you're overweight, losing weight can be helpful. Even, 5 to 10 pounds, that can take that stress off your joints. Exercising, even though that might be something that seems a bit challenging, that still can be helpful. And then learning how to modify your triggers of pain and stress using cognitive behavioral therapy. Gentle stretching and relaxing techniques, of course, can be helpful. And then self-management workshops. And I'm going to mention one at the end that is actually a really good one for people to go through. And it's a way for people to learn how to manage their pain and then improve their quality of life. And then also, pacing yourself, rest and understand your limits and limit work on projects to small segments of time. So I have had a couple of herniated discs recently, and I've had to learn this whole concept of pacing myself, instead of trying to do everything that I have on my list for the weekend, in one day. I have to space it out and take breaks between. And, listening to our body is really important part of this. And then try to limit those times that you're stationary for long periods. Get up, walk around the room, walk down the hall, whatever it may be, so that you just keep your joints lubricated. And then use a warm or cold treatment, such as an ice pack or heating pads as recommended to help with that inflammation. Try a muscle ointment to reduce morning stiffness if you have that. Learn ways to manage your pain and, record those activities that may be more discomforting to you, so that maybe those are the things that you get someone to help you with. You can also use assistive devices to help protect the joints and improve your ability to perform daily tasks. The way we eat, the foods that we put in our body can also affect our arthritis. So, following an anti-inflammatory diet can be helpful.
So you mentioned a while back about exercising as one of your tips. So if I am in pain, right, and it hurts when I move, I can't imagine being excited or encouraging myself to exercise. So why is exercise so important to managing arthritis?
Right. And, when you are in pain, that's the last thing you think about is getting up and moving. But, also some people think that it might aggravate their joint pain and stiffness, but that's not the case. We know that participating in those joint-friendly physical activities can improve that arthritis pain, our ability to function, our mood, and our overall quality of life. So exercise can strengthen the muscles around your joints and help protect that bone strength, boost your energy, improve your sleep. It helps with controlling your weight, improves your balance, which is important. And according to the CDC, adults with arthritis should aim for at least 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity activity, at least 2 to 3 times a week.
Are there some exercises that are recommended, or what are the most common exercises that people with arthritis can engage in?
Yeah, the most common exercises reported by people with arthritis are simply walking, and that could be inside. I know locally we have a mall that has a mall walking group. They open early. People can come in, or you can walk at any time. But if you want to go in the early morning and walk, some schools open up and allow walking. If you have walking trails or paths, that's just a great exercise that people can do. Gardening, biking, swimming, weightlifting. The key is just making sure that they're low impact exercises, which means you're putting limited stress on your body and reducing that risk for injury. So when you're picking an arthritis friendly activity, the one that you're going to do is going to be the best choice, right? So there's no activity that is going to be perfect for everyone. It's not a one size fits all. So maybe it's swimming, maybe that's something that you really enjoy and that's easy on your joints, and it's convenient because you have access to a pool. So, we want those low impact aerobics that include that muscle strengthening, that flexibility, and then works on balance as well. And of course, it's important to check with your doctor before you begin any exercise program, just to make sure if they have any suggestions for you as well to follow.
So you just mentioned that you need to check with your physician before you start any type of exercise programs. But are there steps in addition to that that people with arthritis can follow to support their exercise and making sure that they're doing it safely?
Yeah. One thing that people can do is follow the SMART steps. And so that would be starting low and going slow, paying attention to how their body is responding and how the body is actually tolerating the exercise that they're doing, and then adjust accordingly. If let's say they choose biking and they realize that it's affecting their body in a negative way and causing more pain, then, go ahead, modify and try something else. And that's our next one, is modify activities when that arthritis symptoms increase, and try to stay active, even though we might want to pull back. But people with arthritis experience good days and they experience bad days. So it's important to listen to your body and don't do anything that's going to make those symptoms worse. That saying of no pain, no gain is not what we want to follow when it comes to arthritis and exercise. If we're experiencing pain, then that's something that we don't want, and we want to choose a different activity. Activities should be joint friendly, so they don't pound or twist the joints too much. We don't want to put too much pressure on them. And recognize that safe places are important for us when we're exercising. So choose those sidewalks or paths that are even and level, free of any obstructions, that are well lit. And also, it's a great idea to have benches around. On our local walking path, we have benches every so often, so that if you do need to sit down and take a break, that's certainly something that you can do. And then also, the last part of the SMART steps is to talk to your healthcare professional or a certified exercise specialist, just to determine what type of exercise is best for you and is going to match your ability level as well as those goals that you have for yourself.
If I've been diagnosed with arthritis and I might be struggling a little bit with that, what are some of the resources that people can explore if they'd like to learn more about arthritis?
Yeah, sure. So there was a fact sheet that I wrote last year, Living with Arthritis, and it can be found on Ohio Line. If you're not familiar with that site, there's fact sheets that are just about anything you can imagine, from food safety to bugs and so on. So you could look that up there. The Arthritis Foundation has a wealth of information on their site. It's a great place to go to, especially if you're new and have just been diagnosed with it. Of course, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Arthritis Society, they have a newsletter that you can sign up for as well. And so if you want information, sent to your email, they'll do that if you sign up. And then the National Institutes of Health has information on arthritis and different specific kinds of arthritis. And then the program that I wanted to share with you guys about that our colleague who is in Darke County offers is called Healthy You. Her name's Roseanne Scamahorn, and she's an educator, family and consumer science educator in Darke County. And she offers this program where participants learn proven strategies to manage chronic health conditions such as arthritis, but also diabetes, lung disease, high blood pressure, heart disease, cancer, chronic pain in general, anxiety, and depression. So those all have a lot of similarities as far as being chronic conditions. And so you go through this series of workshops that are conducted in partnership with the Area on Aging. There's 6 weeks. And they're interactive small group sessions that focuses on the participants' role in managing their own illness. So there's a variety of topics that are addressed. Of course, that's stress and frustration, fatigue, pain, and depression, the benefits of using physical activity, and how to use medication safely, as well as ways to improve your communication with your doctor and even your family members who may not understand what signs and symptoms that you're experiencing. And then also talking about proper nutrition and how to evaluate any new treatments that might be coming up, and setting some goals of things you want to accomplish. Each participant receives a free copy of a 374-page guide that's called Living a Healthy Life with Chronic Conditions. And so if you're interested in that program, Roseanne's information as far as her email is there. It's scammahorn.5@osu.edu. Her phone number is 937-548-5215. And she doesn't have this program happening currently, but she plans to offer it again in the fall.
Thank you, Lorrissa, so much. This has been such really good information. And, based on the statistics and the people that we know it's a very common thing that everyone is facing. And so we really appreciate all those tips and the connections that you have, and also the great offerings that Extension has to address some of these issues. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to hearing from you again.
Yeah, there was one more thing I just remembered that I wanted to mention is the Tai Chi classes that we offer too through, we do those virtually. We're finishing our second series and we'll be starting those up again in the fall. We're looking at September. So if anyone is interested in doing free Tai Chi classes, then please reach out to myself or your local county office. They can connect you to me and we can get you signed up for the virtual Tai Chi classes. They're actually really beneficial for those folks that experience arthritis pain.
Thank you so much. And I do love that. I love the fact that you are encouraging people to reach out to their extension office. So if you are interested in contacting your extension office, what you need to do is you want to search for your county, whatever your county is, and then .osu.edu, and that will take you to your county extension webpage. So thank you all for joining us today, and have a good rest of your week.